Hey guys, Ben Paint here, back once again at Teamsport Bristol for another Monday night social event. Now before we get into the video, if you do want to watch the fastest lap of the session from myself, feel free to skip forward to 12 minutes and 11 seconds, as that is the start of my fastest lap for the evening. What you are watching, however, is the third session of the evening, so the final session that I had on this particular week. And as you can see, we're already trying to just get in the groove, trying to find our way after being out of the kart on a little break. And across the line you can see that our first lap was a 38.754, which isn't the worst lap, but there's definitely room for improvement around here as we are catching up to the fellow ahead, and they have just pulled to the side as I believe they were waiting for a faster driver so they could try and get the toe off them. This is not something that I like to do, as I like to maximise the amount of time in the session rather than waiting for a bit of a faster driver to come round. There's always the risk that they could then pull away straight away and then you've wasted time trying to come back and catch up with them. But moving on anyway, we are coming round the final corner, and our second lap of the session was a 38.453. And as you can see here, I was trying a little bit of a different tactic this week. I was trying to use the brake a bit more, because usually I've been told that you're able to just coast through the corners and that you don't really need to use the brake as much. And I found this week, with a tiny bit more grip on the track, once again I was able to find some faster lap times, as you will see later into the video, especially around this bottom section here, as last week we were all over the place. But as you can see here, we were able to get a nice clean line and a clean run out of the final corner, as that's led to a 38.143. and just applying the brake a tiny bit down in this bottom section, I found I was trying to practice my throttle control as I have upstairs, just downstairs a little bit more, and it seemed to be working and it seemed to help out. But up ahead we have a driver as well, once again using the two dots on the floor as my reference around that flat out corner, and just dabbing the brakes a little bit and only half throttling through this top section really did help me to gain a higher amount of grip and traction. And once again I was staying tight to those last two corners on this lap, which has resulted in a 38.039. so every lap the times are coming down, and as you can see here, we really have closed up to the two people in front of us. The person in front of us goes a little bit wide and then sort of closes us off, and I can't lie, I did stamp on the brake quite a lot there, as I thought I was going to end up in the wall, and I just sort of was a bit upset, so just lunged it down the inside at the top of the ramp and just thought I'd get past them as quickly as possible. Fine, on to the next driver, just sort of trying to close up to them around the top section. In the bottom corner here as well, taking a narrow line, look for the inside but it's not really there. Down the straight as well, just ducking in behind them and then springing out around the first corner, which is quite an unconventional place to overtake, but it seems to work. And then we move on to the next few laps. Here I was trying to understand whether it was easier to just slide the car into that first corner, or if it was better to brake and then turn in, and I think a mixture of both really was helping out. But we're moving up here to the top section, and here I was trying to go a little bit slower this week and swing a little bit more into the left after the first corner so that I could get a larger run out of the second corner, and it seemed to lead to faster lap times. I don't know if it was just this section, but here you can see we're down to a 38.287, which once again is reasonably decent, but it's still not into the 37 mark, and that's something that we really are pushing to aim for now, especially after the last few weeks. As I said, coming up the ramp again, over the two dots, as I find this is the best place for me to go flat out, and then lifting off, tiny application of brakes, sliding to the left there, and then back out, and it really was giving me a way better run compared to the last few weeks. And then sticking tight to the first apex, sticking tight to the second one, trying to stay as straight as possible over the line, and it's now the fastest lap of the session so far, 38.016. Once again there, I really was practicing on this first corner to only use half the throttle at all times to make sure that the kart rev stayed high. It allowed for a better exit into the bottom section, and it really was helping me a lot more than it has done in previous weeks. And the same at the top here, just half throttling, keeping the revs as high as possible so that when I go down the ramp I have as high speed into that last corner and then maximise the exit on the way out and across the line. Here you can see once more it's a 38.008, so the times are coming down. I'm very consistent in my times as well, which, as you know, I do like to be consistent. And the thing that I was focusing on was the two people up ahead, as I do like to see people ahead as a marker to try and catch up to, see if I can overtake them further on into the session, because I do find it difficult just driving around on my own with no actual guidance to sort of follow from, as you have really your own instincts to follow, and sometimes that can be difficult. However, some weeks it really does click, and there you can see we're down to a 37.932, which about a month ago would have been around my fastest time at the track, but over the last few weeks we really have slowly been improving, and I think it is akin to rewatching the videos that I'm putting out and finding the right lines to follow and having the confidence really to put my foot down a little bit faster and firmer than I would previously. And that's because I'd be worried about the kart sliding in the colder weather, and as it's getting hotter and later into the year, the kart is able to stick to the track a little bit better. And once again we are very consistent, only a few hundredths off my previous lap. And as I said previously, as there's people ahead of me, I just seem to be really focusing on them this week, and it was really dragging my lap times down compared to previous weeks where I have, as I've said, languished around where the times are at the moment for my fastest lap, and everything seems to fall into place this week as the kart wasn't sliding as much and I was able to get my foot down in a much easier manner. And as you can see, at 37.665, that's only 1/10 off of my fastest lap at the track, and that was done on a very, very grippy track, so I really was feeling the confidence this session and catching up to the people ahead of me, wanting to put them under a bit of pressure, practice my overtaking once again, as the fellow ahead of me in the first session I really did struggle to get past, and I was trying to be a bit too polite once again, just catching up in the corners, but on the straights just lagging behind. But there you can see that previous lap was a 37.531, which I do believe was my fastest lap at the track. However, we still have more to come, as we're really keeping up with the people ahead of us now, and we're just trying to take the best line possible, not following the lines they're setting, as that's something that I have struggled with in the past, is focusing too much on the car ahead, getting into their toe, but then just focusing so much that I've followed a line even if it's a bad line. And I really was trying this week to focus on myself, focus on the line that I created for myself, as the bloke there just doing a bit of Tokyo drift, spinning out, just have a little bit of a yellow flag, and rather than pushing right up behind that person, sometimes it is better just to go a little bit slower, create a bit more space for yourself. And even though I felt like I was in two minds at this point, because I didn't know whether to try and stay up behind them because I was quicker and I was going to catch up to them eventually, or by making this bit of space I could still keep some quick laps in while having some markers ahead of me to sort of catch up to. And that was something I conflicted against, but I chose to stay behind. We will see what kind of laps we're able to get, as that's a 44.495, probably the slowest I've had around the track in a very long time. And as I said, I was pretty sure in my mind I was going to catch up to these two karts ahead of me, but I was willing to create that space. As I said earlier, I am able to focus more on the cars ahead and really use them as a target to catch up to, rather than just driving around on my own, as I find that more difficult. My concentration goes, whereas when there's something to strive for, something to keep up with, it really does help. And as you can see here, straight back in with a 37.796, and once more, like last week, just swinging on the left on that first corner, back out to keep it as straight as possible, flicking in into the hairpin and up the ramp on the left hand side of the track, and then just over the 2 dots once more. I really do love those 2 dots. They really do help you to go flat out through the corner. And like I said earlier, I was struggling to figure whether it was better to just use a smooth application of steering, or as you can see there, just a big flick to make the kart sort of slow down without pressing the brakes. And that resulted in a 37.939. As you can see, once again, just swinging to the left and then keeping it as straight as possible on the exit. And you can notice further up the road that there is an increased amount of people appearing in front of me. It's not just 2 karts, but it's more than 2. And I was looking to catch up to the back, as we do go a bit excited into that flat out corner and end up hitting the wall. But which is a thing that I do quite a few times. My confidence goes a little bit too high at points and end up ramming into the wall and losing the momentum. However, that did still end up in the 37.892, and the people ahead are being held up by one another, and this really was allowing me to catch up to them and look for some overtakes here, as the person in front of me goes up the inside of the person in number 6, and I thought, right, I'm going to follow them through as well. So it was a nice clean overtake. Number 1, as I said earlier, someone that I did struggle. They did drift very wide there and wide again, and this just allowed me to undertake them, undercut them, and go up the inside. And now that I got past those previous 2 drivers, I really was looking forward and ahead to the person in front of me once again, as I was applying a tiny bit of brake there, and as you can see, it really was helping me gain a lot more traction mid-corner and out of the corner compared to previous weeks where I was sliding a bit left and right. I was sliding and I was losing time on that underground bit. Once again, just almost clipping the wall. Want to maximise it as much as possible, using a little bit of brake on the left and then keeping it as straight as possible here. And as we go round the final corner here, this following lap was the fastest lap that I performed and have performed. So that was a 37.597, but as you can see here, just keeping really tight to that first corner. The second corner we used throttle control, so we were able to not have a slide into the hairpin, and we flicked it a little bit, but we were able once more to use half throttle. Here we go completely flat out, a tiny little lift onto the right hand side, and very smooth through this top section, look, as using half throttle really did help this week. And then into the last corner, trying to keep it as tight as possible, neat as possible, onto the accelerator, getting into the tail of the person in front of me, and that was a 37.360, which is officially my fastest time at the track. And as I pressure the person in front of me, they just sort of skate out of my way just to the left hand side there, and as I look forward ahead of me on the track once more, I was looking at my doppelganger. He had the same colour helmet as me, and there's only one person on this track allowed to have a fluoro yellow helmet, and that was me. But yeah, just trying to keep up nice and close and try and gain as much time as possible. Little did I know that we were coming towards the end of the session now. I think this was lap 21 at this point, just gone, because I was at 37.842, so nowhere near as fast as the lap previously. But once again, on this bottom section, just gaining so much time on the 2 people ahead of us. They are holding each other up, but the person ahead of me just trying to go down the inside of the other driver, managing to do it. But these 2 are battling, and I was taking a little bit of a backseat. Obviously, I didn't realise this was coming up to the end of the session just yet. I was trying to get involved, and as they're twitchy on the exit, I was looking here, just right up behind them, almost pushing them through the corner, get a way better exit. And obviously, there's not really much space to get past, but as you can see there, it is in vain, as that was the end of the session, my last time lap. As we round out the end of the session here with the last lap of 37.688, and we're looking to overtake number 3. I'd just like to say that I hope you enjoyed the video, as I really did enjoy making it. If you did enjoy it, please could you leave a like and subscribe for more in the future, especially if you're new to the channel. Leave some comments too, as I'd love to hear from you guys, and please share with people looking to come to the track, as I want to help as many people as possible. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.